Good evening and welcome to the Fredonia Central School Board of Education meeting for January 16th, 2024. This meeting is rescheduled from last week when we postponed it. We start every meeting with a pledge of allegiance to our flag. So if everyone would please rise and join me. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. As you are most likely aware, our district was extremely saddened by the unexpected passing of Ms. Paula Troutman, our middle school principal, on January 1st. Our sincere and continued condolences and thoughts go out to the family, friends, and colleagues of Paula. Over the course of 2 weeks, our district did the best we could to offer support to everyone across the district. We want to sincerely thank our students, faculty, staff, administration, families, and community members for their love, compassion, and thoughtfulness as we grieve during this difficult time. Tonight, we have purposely left Paula's usual seat around the board table open with her name plate as a sign of respect for her and all the outstanding work she provided the district. We also wanted to serve as a sign that she will always be part of our district and hold a special place in our hearts. We hope to honor her memory by continuing to make great strides for our students, faculty, staff, and community in the future. If I could ask all of us to take a moment of silence for Paula. Thank you. Mr. Alex.
I just want to share a couple quick thoughts here. Mrs. Paula Troutman was a true professional who brought a high level of passion, enthusiasm, caring, and expertise to the outstanding leadership she provided for our district. Paula began her career as a science teacher in Pine Valley before going into administration. And as an administrator, she worked for Fredonia prior to this recent stint, also at Lakeshore, Silver Creek, and Gowanda, and then returning to Fredonia in 2018. As principal, Paula created a culture of learning, teamwork, innovation, and fun that makes our middle school a great place for students and staff. As Jamie Paul Hamus, our middle school assistant principal, noted recently, it is well known that Paula valued family above all else. The importance of family showed through in how she lived her life and in the family atmosphere she cultivated at the middle school, and also how she assisted our students and families on multiple levels. It is Paula's impact of fostering relationships, work family, that our staff has leaned on as a strength to be there for our students and for each other over the past couple weeks. Paula will be greatly missed and as well as remembered by both students and adults. One of my first work experiences with Paula as I came on board here in Fredonia is that I happened to walk into a fairly intense parent meeting, which Paula was leading not long after I started. I think maybe I was in the second or third day, and it happened to be during Spirit Week. And again, Paula had a flair for fun and enjoyment in her work, so in typical Paula fashion, she was decked out in her Chuck Taylors, her colorful leggings, a tutu, a feathery Bowie scarf thing, some funky glasses, and a silly hat. However, during that meeting, she showed all the things that made her the person that she was. She showed passion, tenacity, feistiness, sense of humor, good nature, compassion, and general concern for others, especially our students and families. Similar stories have been shared over the past few weeks that leave no doubt that Paula made an impression and left her mark on us all. I am honored to have worked and known Paula. She will be greatly missed across the district. We have also asked the FFA and then the FTA to make some comments here tonight. We appreciate both associations doing so.
Thanks, Brad. This is on behalf of our administrative unit. Our school, our community, our family suffered a profound loss with the passing of our friend and colleague, Paula Troutman. However, we've chosen to celebrate the life and the legacy of the remarkable individual that Paula was, one who put family first, with an infectious laugh, colorful language, and who touched the hearts of all who had the privilege of knowing her. Educators play a pivotal role in molding and creating opportunities for others. Paula was a master artist in this sense, very much like a potter. I would say that I envision her sitting at her potter's wheel, but everyone knows that Paula couldn't sit still long enough to do that. So standing at her potter's wheel, she crafted an environment that fostered growth, learning, and a sense of belonging. Her commitment to education was more than a profession. It was a calling. It was a passion. She was like a sponge, so oversaturated with joy that she could not help but spill it onto everyone around her. Paula was more than just an administrator. She was a mentor, a friend, and a source of unwavering support. With a laugh and a wit that could brighten the darkest days, she created a culture of kindness and acceptance where everyone felt valued and understood. Her door was always open, and her heart was ready to listen. She had an extraordinary ability to see the potential in everyone, encouraging them to reach beyond themselves and pursue their dreams. She was also never afraid to call people out when they were out of order, but she always did so with a positive intent. And there was never any guesswork involved in knowing Paula's intent. She believed in the power of education, the power of family, and the power of love to transform lives. She instilled in us the importance of resilience, hard work, and empathy. Her legacy is woven into the countless stories of students and adults who have left her presence better than when they arrived. Beyond academics, she taught us the importance of compassion and community. She brought us together, fostering a sense of unity and belonging. With me, this often involved a large French fry. We will continue to cultivate and celebrate the enduring impact she had on shaping the character of our school. So we move forward with gratitude for the gifts that she bestowed upon us. We carry forward the lessons that she imparted, the values she instilled, and the love that she shared. As she boldly announced her simple, final New Year's resolution to love more, we endeavored to carry her commitment forward, and in doing so, we honor her as a remarkable educator, mentor, wife, grandmother, mother, sister, and friend. We love you, Paula.
It still feels very unreal that we've lost our friend and leader, Mrs. Troutman. Immediately after starting her role as principal of the middle school, she helped the teachers rekindle our passions and find our joy. She challenged her staff to think about teaching and learning in new ways, championing student-centered learning stations in all classrooms, and then supporting us as we learned how to do it. She led with care and compassion through the many iterations of school during COVID, and while it was challenging, Paula always trusted her teachers. She trusted us to know our students and their needs. She encouraged play, joy, creative thinking, and innovative lessons. She charged us with making middle school memorable for every student through meaningful experiences. We will always remember her hosting trivia days, dancing in the talent show, wearing silly costumes, showing enthusiasm for the Bills, and planning Spirit Weeks, pep rallies, and Jean Zember. She never stopped learning. Many of our faculty have fond memories from the many educational conferences they attended through the years with Paula. She was a teacher's principal who knew that getting the best out of teachers results in giving the best to students. She supported her staff in many ways, but most importantly, she believed in us and allowed us space and grace to be our best in the classroom. Thank you, Mr. Aldrich, board members, and Dr. Ziliox for allowing the FTA moment to share with our community how deeply affected we are by this loss. We send our love to Mrs. Troutman's family, which was her priority always. She loved them fiercely, and I am sure this loss leaves a chasm in their hearts as it does in ours.
Thank you both. I am told that there's two things that we know about Paula. I was not privy to this, as I knew her more professionally at board meetings, but as I've been told, Paula was not a fan of long meetings. Didn't know that, especially long Board of Education meetings. Didn't know that. Also, was also one who liked to cut to the chase and get to the heart of the matter. So with that in mind, we have made an effort in this meeting to keep it short and concise while moving on to our additional agenda items for the evening. Again, she will be remembered and missed by all across the district. Thank you, Paula Trout. So with that, the board has been given a proposed agenda with several consent items on it. But there's also some addendum items that you will see on the last page of the agenda that we've received tonight. I'm going to ask for a motion to bring this agenda to the table with the understanding that the three addendum items will come up for a vote in the meeting rather than the typical we would have that as part of our consent. But I like to have the addendum items voted on individually to make sure that we don't have any questions and got the time to think about that. So if I could have a motion to accept the agenda. Mr. Paul, in a second. Ms. Paula Fortner. Is there anything that any board member would like pulled out of the consent? Okay. If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. So the board has reserved this time to hear comments from the audience. Those wishing to address the board are asked to stand, give their name and address, and limit their comments to 5 minutes or less. Is there anyone who would like to address the board tonight? Okay.
I think we do.
Oh, we do. Your name and address, please.
My name is Sam Wright. I live at Brandon Road, 9472. I'm here talking about the boys' locker room and the girls' locker room for the wrestling team. I know it's been discussed about the school board, and I know my coach, Joe Santilli, has talked about it to Lauer, and I was just wondering, have you guys gotten forward to that at all? Because it has been a real struggle for the boys and the girls to change in their locker room, especially when there's practice going on.
Can I jump in on?
Sure, please.
First of all, thank you for your comments. We appreciate it. What is being referred to is in the locker room. At some point along the way, there was some storage items put in the locker room, and they're really hindering the ability to fully use the locker room. And just before the holiday break, this came forward, and then we got a little distracted with our plan to remove those things and definitely create enough space where, for the number of people that are on the team, you'll have access to that locker room. That should happen in the next day or two. Mr. Forbes and I were working on a plan today to have that happen, and we apologize for the delay on that. And thanks for bringing it back forward here tonight.
Thank you.
Sam? Sam?
Yeah.
What year are you in high school?
I am a senior in high school.
Okay, and how many years have you been wrestling?
This is my 4th year wrestling.
4th year? Good for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So if there's no other comments, we've got the minutes from our last regular meeting of December 12th. If I could have a motion to bring those to the floor for approval.
So moved.
Ms. Paul Fortin, in this second.
Second.
Ms. Hahn. Are there any questions, comments, sample applications, corrections? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Next, we have our financial treasurer's report, our budget status report, investment report, and our revenue report.
So we'll do the investment report first. Through November, we are currently at an anticipated amount of revenue of $144,000 versus a budgeted amount of $50,000. We've been trying to continue to be aggressive with the T-bills that we're using, and the rates continue to hold steady in the 5.25 to 5.28%, even as late as today. So that's all good. So we're obviously over budget in that category. Moving into the rest of the revenues then, point out a couple things that during the month of November. 52,000 appeared in the month as actually received interest. The investment report lists things that are invested, but the maturity dates aren't until later, so it kind of doesn't always match that way. We did receive $145,000 from BOCES as refunded prior year services. We also booked in the November teacher's retirement system payment, which you also record on the opposite side in revenue of $517,000, which is the last one for the year. And we did receive $70,000 in supplemental lottery aid, which was scheduled. Looking at the dashboard, we did make a couple adjustments. On the expenditure side, we did bump a couple things up, so we're now running about $450,000 to the good, holding steady there. On the revenue side, in part due to the BOCES refund and in part due to the investment, we're projecting right now about $60,000 more than budgeted there, and hopefully that number can creep up a little bit as we get a little farther along. So holding steady on that right now.
On consistency, right? No surprises.
Oh,
Yes. Any questions from the board? Okay. If I could have a motion to bring the treasurer's report to the floor, please.
So moved.
Mr. Marshall, and a second.
Second.
Mr. Hawk. And with that, Mr. Forbes.
no comment, everything was good there.
Any questions from the board? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Next, we have the building conditions survey and revised fee for additional services. Mr. Ziliak, would you walk us through this, please?
Yes, so as we discussed the building condition survey, a couple things had come to light. One is that there would be some work roof that would be required in the district. There was also some comments about our playground, as well as some structural review items in terms of cracks, either in a wall or a floor, that just we want to explore and really understand exactly what is the state of these items, and in particular with the roofs. This will be a little bit of a linchpin in this project because potentially, if roofs are in shape that requires a lot of work, that'll potentially be multi-million dollars. So we are expending a little bit of money here to get a better understanding of those things. This would be included in the cost of our building condition survey, which would then make it aidable. So we will eventually get that money back. The roof scans in the winter are a little more expensive than they would be in the summer or the spring, but we felt like we needed this information sooner than later. So that is part of, that would include all the roofs here on the main campus as well as on the Wheelock campus. And then the lesser items are the playground audit to understand our current state there, as well as those structural items, which again are much lesser. So the total ends up being about $32,700 out of pocket, but again, eventually we will get paid back on that money. And really this is about better understanding our facilities and then being able to understand the cost of those things. And as we talked about in the building condition survey when Young is right here, those are those things that we feel like we're going to need to do that are critical to the maintenance of our facilities, and then the things that we would like to do, such as potentially sports fields and music suites and all these kinds of things. So by getting a handle on those maintenance items, it'll help us make some decisions about the larger project. Mr. Forbes, anything to add there?
Just that the building rate would be at 82.7%, which is our normal building.
Is there any concern of change in the accuracy of the roof scans being done in the winter, or comfortable and confident, or the vendor contractor?
Yeah, part of that price is reflected in the equipment that's needed during the winter months, which is fairly high tech. So that's really what so I feel like with that higher level of equipment,
Great,
the results will be accurate.
great, happy to move.
So where does this put us in the total cost allotted from the state as far as budget for this building survey study?
So I think we had a max number of about $130,000. And with this money, do you remember where that?
I believe we're at 120.
Yeah, no, we're not.
It went back and forth with that one part of it, but I think it's 120 altogether with what they've already done. And this.
Now, the other question we ask, is there more things coming that would kind of threaten that 130 threshold? And the feeling was no, that this is the bulk of the cost. And we have a little wiggle room in there for some minor things, but we were concerned about being close and what might be coming down the road. So this should be the bulk of the expense.
So on this roof scan, we're planning to do it in the wintertime. If we did it in wintertime and we realized that there weren't any issues, I guess it doesn't matter, it wouldn't prevent us from doing another scan in 2 years, or 3 years, 4 years, 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the goal is that by scanning everything, we can see if there's anything, first of all, immediate that absolutely needs to be taken care of in this project. And then I think the second thing is to try to be able to future out in the next 2 projects, although the timing of that might not be crystal clear at this point. What would be the roof work in, so not this project, but the next project, and then the project after that, which gives us about a 10-year plan for the roofs, which is really the goal for our entire facility. That's what we're trying to do, is really kind of project out that 10-year long-term planning.
What sections of roofs do we still have warranty on that we're going to be scanning?
Well, we're scanning everything,
Right.
and it's a good question. I don't know if I,
There's a portion of Wheelock, which was in the last project, which I believe is in New England, cafeteria section, and the piece that goes along there, which was the print shop, and then the stretch going down the hallway towards the elementary middle school. That was all the last project. And we have had scans in the past, not in project consideration, just where we had leakage that we couldn't figure out, and not anywhere of this scope, but where we scanned small areas to see.
So the advantage I can see is if we have a warranty balance left on roof sections, and we go through and scan it and find issues, then we would then move forward with our warranty piece. Would that be correct?
We haven't really had that discussion yet, but yeah, that would make sense.
Okay.
And we're doing the roof scan because we're approaching kind of the 20-year lifespan on parts of the roof, is that?
Yeah, so I don't have the document with us, but on the document that we received that kind of broke down what are those maintenance issues, there was definitely what they believed to be roof work needed based on the age. Again, we wanted to understand a little bit more. And there was also a pretty significant range in what that could be. So the other purpose here is to really nail down what are we talking about in terms of roofs and the expense for this particular project. And then what does that either free up or maybe not free up as much for additional items.
In the roof that we have, there's, Mr. Hawk probably knows the material better, but essentially a foam underneath the membrane, so when the water gets in, the issue is how far has that seeped and what kind of damage has it caused.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. We next move on to personnel. We have the resignation of Janice Walser Wazerneal, an elementary teacher. If I could have a motion for the approval of her resignation.
So moved.
Ms. Hahn, and a second.
Second.
Mr. Hawk? Mr. Ziliak, we have a,
So we have two longtime teachers on the agenda today, not only Janice, but Julie coming up momentarily. And given the nature of our meeting tonight, we've invited them both to the meeting a week from tonight to recognize and have more of a celebratory moment with both of them. As you can tell from our agenda here, Janice has been with the district 47 years and Julie 35. So what a great, two great careers to celebrate, and we thought that would be better a week from tonight than this evening. So they're both excited to come, and we're happy to be invited. So
47 years. How long have you been with the district?
3.
Mr. Ford,
37.
do you know of anyone who's been in the district?
She is the longest.
Have you ever known anyone longer?
We have 4 or 5 that are over 40 years.
Really? It's amazing. She must have started in elementary school. If I could, all those in favor of accepting her resignation signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Next, we have the resignation of Julie Clark, elementary teacher. If I could have a motion to accept her resignation.
So moved.
Mr. Hawk, in a second.
Second.
Mr. Marshall, sorry. Mr. Ziliak.
Yeah, same with Julie, as I mentioned. Again, 35 years in the district. She will also be here a week from tonight, and we'll be happy to hit some highlights of their careers and allow our administrators to share some information as well. So
Again,
we look forward to that.
35 years. Amazing. All those in favor of accepting Ms. Clark's resignation signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Next, we have a couple of addendum items here. If you would. We have the resignation of Kate Byer, co-instructional leader for student services, effective November 22nd, 2023. If I could have a motion to bring that to the floor, and then we'll kind of explain that.
Yep.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Powell-Fortna and Mr. Marshall. Thank you. Mr. Ziliak.
So as you know, we have a number of instructional leader positions in the district who help oversee a variety of different tasks in that particular area. To start the year, Kat Byer and Stephen Romans shared that position, so their stipend was divided in half. A few board meetings ago, we approved Mr. Romans' resignation from his half of the position. Just workload and other things sometimes don't allow people to feel like they can devote as much time as they would like to what are sort of additional tasks to their main job. So Mr. Romans felt like he needed to step down. So that would mean Kat would resign from her half position, and then you'll see in the next resolution, she will be appointed as the sole instructional leader. At the end of the day, in terms of budgeting, it all comes out in the wash, and it's ultimately the same amount of money, just kind of divided oddly with the resignation, but we're excited to have Kat on board, and she does so many great things for the district, and also has served as part of the instructional leader in the past. So thank you to her for being willing to step into the full-time position, and also for everything that she does in the district. She certainly has expanded her role into a lot of different areas that support mental health and just student wellness in general in the district.
Any questions on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Next, we're going to have the appointment of Kat Byer to the position of instructional leader rather than co. So we're just going to go with the motion and approval. So if I could have a motion.
So moved.
Ms. Hahn, and a second.
Second.
Mr. Hawk. Since I know there aren't any questions and I've asked, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Next, we have the appointment to a long-term continuing temporary extended leave substitute basis, Gail Walter. If I could have a motion to bring that to the floor, please.
So moved.
Mr. Marshall, and a second.
Second.
Ms. Paul Fortman. Mr. Ziliak.
Yeah, so as you know, occasionally we have, for a variety of reasons, teachers need to be out on leave. And not that long ago, the board approved the idea of an extended leave sub, so that's somebody who can come in and take care of the lesson plans and really take on the complete role of the teaching duties. And Ms. Walters, who is just out of college and has a PE certification, came in and interviewed with our team, and everybody was impressed. So we're excited to have her on board and excited to have somebody certified in the area on board. And we look forward to her service through March 22. So, and that's in the PE. Did I say that? PE? Yes. Thank you. Sorry.
Any questions from the board? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Mr. Ziliak, your superintendent's report.
Yeah, just a couple quick notes for this evening. One is, back at the time of our last budget vote, the community approved a student, Board of Education rep for our district, and we ended up with 6 excellent candidates who had put their name forward for consideration. We really felt that any one of the 6 could have served in this role. And we sat down and spoke with each of the students, and then we spoke with each of them individually to make them aware of where things stood most recently. For all of the following reasons was part of the decision-making and why we felt Lacey Drennan, who is here tonight, hi Lacey, is a senior in our district right now, and why she would be the best fit for the position. She is well-rounded in her participation and activities. She's participated in flag football. She's assisting the wrestling teams as a manager right now. She's been in pit band. She's part of NHS. And she also talked a lot about wanting to be more involved in our school district and recognizing the importance of students' voice within what happens in our district. And also the fact that she wanted to learn more about the district, and in particular, how the Board of Education operates. She has attended Fredonia schools since grade 4. She absolutely has her own thoughts, opinions, and point of view, which came through in the interview. But she also was able to balance that out by recognizing that in her role here, she most of the time would be representing others and really looking at the greater good. And maybe sometimes that might conflict with her own thoughts, but really keeping her mind on what's best for the overall district. She talked about using surveys to gather information from her classmates when needed. She also talked about breaking the results of those surveys down into statistical information for our review that she thought would really make sense and make clear where students stood in certain areas or on certain issues that we might ask her to explore. She understands the importance of being factual, making sure all points of view are taken into account, and making sure that everybody is respected in that process. She is aware that the Board of Education operates within a set of procedures and is excited to know more about how we operate and what those procedures entail. She is not afraid to ask questions or ask for help. She will be attending our next board meeting as our student rep. We invited her tonight as a guest. We will have a seat for her here at the Board of Education table. She also talked about understanding that since this is new and she is the first student rep in our school history, that there's a little bit of an experimental piece to this. And she, I think, is willing to go with the flow and just see what develops and find her voice in our processes. So we're all looking forward to that. In the meantime, I am going to sit down with Lacey again this week, share with her some of the materials from the New York State School Board Association, so she has a little bit more information, and then we look forward to her joining us next Tuesday. So welcome to Lacey, congratulations, and every once in a while we put people on the spot a little bit, Lacey, so I don't know if there's anything you would want to share with the group today.
Hi, I'm Lacey Drennan. I'm in grade 12, and I'm really excited to be a part of this new the student representative position that we're putting in place. I don't know how to word it, but I'm excited to be a part of all of this.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We're excited to have you.
Mom and Dad with you tonight?
Yeah.
Congratulations to all. Nicely done.
Thank you for the kind words tonight. Thank you.
No problem. Well deserved, and we're excited to have Lacey be part of us processing information and gathering information and trying to make the best decisions we can as a governance group. So we're excited. The other thing I just want to touch on real briefly that I mentioned in our last update, getting back to the BCS survey or work, there's a couple things that are happening. Within the next 24 hours, we're going to send out an initial survey that's just asking individuals, whether they're students, community members, parents, faculty and staff, to share any ideas similar to what's already come forward with a group coming forward talking about our athletic fields, talking about our music facilities, but what do people see is areas of the district that need work. And then in the second round of survey, we will ask for some type of prioritization or some thoughts around prioritization of those items. Along with that, we are looking at a public forum on Tuesday, January 30th at 6 p.m. And again, that's just an opportunity to come forward in person and share any thoughts they have. We'll probably open with a brief summary of where we are in this process and then allow people to share some thoughts. And then we're looking at a Board of Education workshop around the BCS, which we've already done once. But this would be an update, and we're looking at February 6th for that at 4 p.m. I just wanted to check with the board, is there either of those dates that are extremely problematic? They're tentative at this point. I'm not necessarily looking to confirm right in this moment, but I would say we'd want to do that shortly. So, those dates seem to be...
I'm out for about a month at that point.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And I'll be gone 30th, so I think I'll be back for the 6th.
Okay.
And should Lacey plan to attend if possible also?
Absolutely.
Yeah, the board.
That would be great. And that's all I had this evening. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you for coming tonight, Lacey. Thank you. So our next regular Board of Education meeting will be next week, January 23rd, 6 o'clock, right here in the high school library. We're expecting another member, which is great. And with that, we anticipate the need to enter into executive session to discuss personnel issues. So if I could have a motion to enter into executive session.
So
please.
moved.
Ms. Hahn, and a second.
Second.
Ms. Paul Fortner. All those in favor of moving into executive session signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you, everyone. We are now in executive session.
Say hi.
Anybody, and you go.